Hi everyone, welcome back to Kidding Around. My name is Melanie Smith and I am so happy that you are here with me today for another Fun Film Friday. Today we will be talking about the movie Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. And we will also be able to make and grow an animal that we might find in Australia because Alexander has decided that the days might be better in Australia. Before we get to that though, if you like what you're seeing here and want to follow along with all of Kidding Around's videos, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also ask your parents to subscribe to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as well. And of course, if you like what you're doing here, please share us with your friends. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to our movie. Have you seen the movie Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day? It is so fun to say. Well, if you haven't seen the movie, you might know the book because the movie is based on a book, but they are both very fun pieces of entertainment, and I hope that you are able to enjoy both of them. In the movie, we meet Alexander Cooper, who is almost 12 years old, and he thinks every day he has is a bad day. He also thinks that every day that his family members have are good days. So at midnight, on the night of his 12th birthday, he wishes that his family would have bad days. And somehow, his wish comes true, and everyone has a very bad day. It is a fun movie, it is a funny movie, and it is a movie with a lot of heart. I highly recommend that after you make your Australian animal, you go and you watch it because I think you will enjoy it immensely. As I mentioned earlier, Alexander wants to go to Australia, so I thought it would be very fun to make an animal that Alexander might see in Australia. Of course, this isn't actually a real animal, but it is based on a real animal. Here's a picture of a bearded lizard that you can find in Australia. Do you see the spikes on his back? So I thought it would be interesting to make an animal that has those spikes on its back. And as I was thinking about it, I thought grass provided the perfect medium for that. So this is what you are going to be making today. You can see how he looks like a lizard. And then he also has some grass seed that has been planted in a ridge on his back. And so probably in a week or two, we are going to have little pieces of grass growing out of this to make this little animal look like a bearded lizard. All right, so to do this activity, you will need a few supplies. You will need an old piece of nylon or an old piece of sheer stocking. I recommend that if you have the opportunity to get the toe to use this part of the stocking that you do that because this makes for a great mouth. All right, you will also need some earth. I just pulled this out of our garden. And then you will also need some fun pieces of leaves, or here you can see I have some evergreen needles that you can use for his legs. You will need a straw to distribute the grass seed, which you will also need. And then you will also need either some sticker eyes. I've talked about these before, how much I love these. Or you can use some googly eyes, or you can draw some eyes on some white paper with a black marker. Anything that works. I recommend if you're not using the sticker eyes that then you also might need a little dot of hot glue to put your eyes on your animal. And of course you would need adult supervision for that as well. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing, oh, you know what I didn't mention that you need is you need something to place your animal on. I happen to have these plates that actually just work perfectly because they're long and narrow. You could use a paper plate. If you do that though, you might want to put another paper plate under it because you are going to be putting water on this and there will be some water sitting on there. So you want to make sure that the water doesn't seep through and damage whatever it's sitting on. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to do after placing my nylon onto the surface that I am going to be using for my lizard to sit on is kind of open the nylon and get it so that it is ready for some soil to go into it. And here, I'll get my legs out of here. We'll be using those in a little bit. And then you are just going to take your soil. I would normally put it on there so that if I made a mess, it stayed on the plate, but I want you to be able to see. So I'm going to maybe make a little extra mess over here, but that's okay. All right, so I have my nylon or my stocking kind of open, and then I am just going to take this soil and I am going to put it in to the nylon. I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start as close to the toe as I can, and then I am just going to continue filling this. You know, if you didn't end up with the toe of the stocking, you can just tie your stocking in a knot, and you'll just do this the same way. You just kind of work that nylon down to the closest point of the seam or the closed part, and then you just put your dirt in, your earth or soil, and then as it fills up, then you just move up the stocking. All right, so I am going to continue filling, and you can fill this pretty full. It just depends on how big you want your animal to be and how full you want your stocking to be. But I would definitely recommend that it at least be about this thick. What is that, about an inch? About an inch thick for your grass to be able to grow. And then you can make this as long as you want to. If you want a really long lizard, you can do that. Or you can make a shorter lizard. Let's see. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more soil here. All right, so I think I have it to about the length that I want. Then I am going to lay it out on the plate where it will sit, and then I am going to shape it. So you can see here that I kind of have some bumps out here where the legs start. So that's what I'm going to do here as well. I'm going to kind of leave the head kind of flat, and then I am going to push out the first set of legs, and then I am going to push in right behind that first set of legs. And then I will flatten out this last set of legs. And then I am going to try to make the rest of this kind of into a long tail. And I think that looks pretty good. All right, now I need to put my grass seed in. So this one is kind of tricky, but definitely doable. What I am going to do is take a straw, and this one is a bendy straw, which works really well. If you don't have a bendy straw, that's okay. You can just bend it right about that same place. And then you are going to take some grass seed. I'm going to see how to best get into the bag. And then you are going to just simply fill the straw with the grass seed. Now this is going to take a little bit of finagling, but you can see I just kind of have the grass seed there in my hand, and then I am just kind of scooping the straw along the seed. And then I kind of move the seed together again, and I just put some more seed in it. You can see that I am spilling seed, so you want to make sure to be over a plate. And then obviously when you are done with this craft, especially this craft, because it can get kind of messy, you'll want to make sure to clean up your area. I'm sure that you always do that, but especially on these super messy crafts, you want to make sure that you're taking care of the mess that you made, right? All right, so I have almost filled the part of my straw above the bend. I'm just going to go just a little bit more. I think maybe I'll scoop up some of this grass seed and I'll put it in as well. So this grass seed, if you leave it on your plate, it might sprout on its own. It might not, but that might be kind of a fun experiment for you to see. All right, so you can see there, I've got most of this straw filled. It's about filled to about right there. So now I am going to very carefully keep the end up that isn't bent, and I am going to find the hole of the stocking, and then I am going to very carefully stick the straw down right on the back of my lizard, and then once it's in there, I am going to start lifting the straw so that some grass seed gets planted right along the ridge of my lizard's back. And you can definitely see through the nylon if your seeds are going where you want them to. And then if you find that you have extra seed left, you can just do the whole strip again to make sure that you have as much seed along the back of your lizard as you want. Now you can see here my seed, some of it got kind of stuck in the straw, so I am going to just kind of loosen it up a little by squeezing it and dipping it down. And then I'm going to go right back in and put my seeds back on the back of my lizard. All right, and there, all of my seeds are now in. And then I am going to just gently take the, twist the nylon, and then I will kind of put it under the body of my lizard. I will make sure that the legs stay out the way that I want them to, and there we go. So then you want to put this in a sunny window and make sure that the soil stays moist. So check on it every day. You can spray it with a spray bottle or you can water it with a watering can. You just want to make sure that this stays moist, but not super wet. It's just one of those fine balances. And I'll tell you, I planted these 5 days ago because I thought that in 5 days I would certainly have something starting to peek up. And I will tell you, there are just the smallest little pieces of grass starting to poke out there. I think they're so small you probably can't even quite see them on camera. So this is a great activity to do to exercise your patience. So it may take well, it's definitely going to take more than 5 days, at least if you're using the grass seed that I am using and you're in the same conditions that I'm in. It will probably take a couple weeks. But then once it grows up, then you can trim it a little bit and it'll continue to grow. You can trim it a little bit more and it should be a very fun thing to watch grow. All right, so I've got my body. Now I am going to add my legs. And this is where you can have a ton of fun. You can go to your garden and you can see if you can find leaves. You can put pine branches out. You could add some moss as little pieces, as little legs. Whatever you want. Be creative. If you have flowers that are flowering, you might even be able to use that too. You would just want to make sure to keep those stems damp. All right, so now I think that I have my legs and I have the shape. Now I am going to go ahead and put 2 eyes on my bearded lizard. Here's an eye. These are stickers. Like I mentioned, you can use googly eyes or paper with drawn on pupils, but those you probably want to glue on, and I think probably hot glue would be best for that, just because this is going to kind of be damp. So I don't know. My stickers here have stayed on pretty well, so I think these stickers will as well. I'll put a link to these stickers below, but you can use anything that you have around the house. And if they fall off, you just gently put them back on, right? All right, so then it's just up to you. Keep the soil damp, keep checking in on your little lizard, and then once he actually starts growing his spikes, make sure to cut them off a couple times, because that's just going to add to the entire fun of the project. Well, I would love to see pictures of your bearded lizards. Please ask a grown-up to take a picture of yours and put those on our Facebook site. I can't wait to see them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have fun with this lesson, and I hope you have a ton of fun watching this movie. I really do think that you will enjoy it. Well, I look forward to seeing you next time at our Test Tube Tuesday lesson. I can't wait to do some science with you. Thanks so much for joining me for this one. Thanks so much for kidding around with me. I will see you next time.